Hello and welcome along to Chasing the Dollar. Ben Damon is my name. We're going to have a look at the Quaddie legs at Wentworth Park this Saturday night, and having a look at the form for us is Tim Newbold. Tim, how have you found them?
It looks a really tough meeting, Ben. One of the hardest I've seen for a few months. I think there'll be plenty of value on the meeting. We'll do our best to find a couple of winners, but it is very tough.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it kicks off the Quaddie at least with probably the race of the night. It is the free-for-all race, number 5 on the program. How did you find this?
Cannot go past Cadence. She is airborne at the moment. She is nailing the jump here at Wentworth Park, which she probably hasn't done except for the past probably month or so. She's got a moderate beginner in Jeremy Jetta on her inside, and Mr. Bow, who has got high speed, but he never begins. He's one of the worst beginners in training. So she should get a clear run in the initial stages. All she needs to do is begin like she has at a past couple, and I think she'll be winning. She'll roll to the lead and she can break 30 seconds. Cadence clearly on top. 7 Free Will is beautifully drawn wider on the track. He's got the early dash to burn down the outside. He's got he hasn't got a great deal of genuine speed on either side, so he should get clear galloping room in the early stages. Throw in number 2, Jeremy Jetta, big win last start, beautifully drawn over near to the inside. He'll be powering home at the end.
Well, race number 6, it's for the stayers over the 720 here at Wentworth Park. 4th and 5th graders, and the stayers, they're very difficult to pick at the moment here at Wenny. We seem to get a different winner every week. Whose turn is it this week, do you think?
Yeah, you're spot on, Benny. I've settled on Mr. Callawella. He's run last week behind Backpage Lead, was really good. He's an on-pace runner. From the 4 alley, he does need to begin, but if he does begin, he's got a moderate beginner on his inside and a greyhound, which has got a bit of pace on his outside. I think he can fire up in the early stages, settle on the pace, and be very hard to gun down. He's been very consistent, number 4, Mr. Callawella. 7, Jill's Army, the kennel mate, a huge danger, but she's got to contend with Smoke on her inside, and he'll go quick in the early stages, so she's got to go around him and begin a bit better than what she did last week. If she does, she can find the bunny, and she can run around 42.5, which is required to win this race. Throw in number 8, Abby Miss. She's a moody type, but if she is on song, she can certainly finish in the finish because she has got a bit of strength on her side. And throw in number 1, Suave Sticker, for your wider quaddies and multiples.
We move on to race number 7. There doesn't appear to be a great deal of strength in this one, Tim, but there is one greyhound that we haven't seen at Wentworth Park, and that's the way you're going.
Yeah, and I think he's the best bet on the card. Number 1, Good Odds John. He's been really good to me throughout his career on provincial tracks. He's a good beginner. He's got high speed. He does look the early leader from the inside alley. Trained by Frankie Hurst. Never been here at Wentworth Park, but I would imagine he has been schooled at the track. If he does lead, there's probably only 1 or 2 greyhounds which would run him down if they settled 2nd, 3rd or 4th. I think he will paddle over the latter stages, but if he does find the bunny, I think he'll get the money. Number 1, Good Odds John. 5, Restore Order, was a really good run first up at the track last week, trained by Jason Magri. Just needs a bit of luck from that awkward alley, but has a moderate beginner on his inside, which will help him in the early stages. And throw in number 2, Laurie's Gift, who's got the early pace to be competitive.
The final leg of the Quaddie is race number 8. This is a 4th grader. It looks like the wing boxes, at least in the betting, hold the key to this race, the 1 and the 8. Could you go past either of them?
I can, because I think they're both badly drawn. Magic Fancy's better drawn wider out. He's got the inside, and Gradance is better drawn on the inside. I'm prepared to risk Magic Fancy, and I'll probably end up with egg on my face, but he'll be rock bottom odds. I'm looking for one at big value. Number 4, Fleetwood. He's a brilliant beginner. He's got good pace. He will run to the rails in the early stages. If he does begin and finds the lead at the first turn, there is a big chance of jamming behind him. If Magic Fancy does duck wide, and he should, High Voltage has got speed. It'll be going with Magic Fancy in the early stages. If Fleetwood leads, he can run a huge race at really good odds. Number 8, Gradance, airborne at the moment. Mark Gatt's got this greyhound absolutely peaking. I would prefer him drawn on the inside, but he's got a massive motor. He's got a bit of pace drawn in 6, which might even give him a bit of a card across here. And if he does get within striking distance of the leaders, he'll be hard to hold out. I've got to throw number 1, Magic Fancy, into my quaddies. I cannot possibly back him. He'll be rock bottom odds, but he can certainly win the race, but he needs to ping out of the boxes because he will take a step to the right. And 3, Tiger Toes, for your wider multiples.
Okay, it's time to get Tim's best bet on the program.
Very tough meeting. Race 7, number 1, Good Odds, John, for the reasons I indicated earlier. I think he can lead at the first turn, just keep rolling, and I think he can sneak home at around 13, 130 and 2.
And we've already heard your value as well.
Yeah, Fleetwood in a race where I think the wingers will hold a heck of a lot of the market. I think at maybe $10, $12, Fleetwood could run a cheeky race.
All right, well, it'd be remiss of us not to mention that on Friday night at the Gardens, it'll be the semi-finals of the Derby and the Futurity. You picked a couple out early too.
Yeah, they're cracking semi-finals of both series. I like the Victorian Alan Makoto in his semi-final of the Derby. His run on debut at the track last week was fantastic. He's normally a brilliant beginner with high speed. He began only okay, and then he just did a dipsy doodle just after the jump, and he lost a bit of ground, but then he punched up. It was a really good run. He is better drawn nearer to the inside, but in that race, I think he can cut and run at the first turn. If he does, he'll run very quick time around the Gardens. I think he'll run a huge race and go through to the final.
And you like one as well in the Futurity semi-final number 1.
Yeah, Little Miss Sparkle. She's been a greyhound I've followed right through her career. She's been racing over the shorter trips, stepped up to the 500 metres last week at the Gardens. She ran an incredible early section, a near record in around 29.6 overall. She's drawn box 5. Forget about that. That's not a concern because she's got that high speed. She'll be around 320, 350, and I think she's a great gamble to top of the favourite Shaker, the Group 1 Paws of Thunder winner from last start.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, thank you for that. We've had a look at Friday and Saturday. Tim, we'll talk to you next time on the show.
Good as gold, Benny.
And we'll see you next time on Chasing the Dog.